Hello everyone, my name is Vincent Besselat. I'm a marketing manager for CS Group Canada. And today I will be talking about automotive cybersecurity for safety critical embedded system. And my objective over the next 15 minutes will be to help you demystify the ISO SAE 21434, which is automotive cybersecurity standard that was released just last summer. So, if like me, you have a 15 years old car and are shopping for a new one, you will be amazed by all the new functionality introduced in the modern vehicle. So whenever it is, electrification, autonomous driving feature, infotainment, all those innovations are made possible because vehicles are now software defined. So meaning it's controlled by a software and has an increased connectivity. But if you replace the word software by a cable, if you replace the word connectivity by expose, you can imagine how difficult it is to protect those vehicles against cybersecurity threats. So the concern ranges from annoying to life-threatening scenario. So annoying can be, you rent a car, you connect your phone to the infotainment system, all your contacts are uploaded, and then the next person as renting the car has access to your contact. So, this is annoying. But then you can have the scenario as well when, someone take control of your autonomous car and will use it as a weapon on the road. So, that's why the automotive industry must address cybersecurity concern for several reasons, including the impact on safety. So either the passenger of the vehicle or the surrounding environment, the reputation of the company developing those systems, or to comply with government regulation. So in terms of regulation, Germans, OEM, and Europe are leading the way. So the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, UNECE, are a working group that released a binding regulation on cybersecurity, UNR 155, for OEM and third party to address these threats. So the regulation was first published in January 2021, and starting July 2022, compliance will be required for all new vehicles. From July 2024, the compliance will be required for all produced vehicles. So this is true for European market, and having discussion with organization in North America, we are expecting that we will follow the same path in upcoming months. So to comply with UN R 155, the OEM must fulfill the requirement, and they do that by releasing a certified cybersecurity management system, but also ensuring that the requirements are flowed down to their supplier. But to help, the industry fulfill this regulation, the ISO SAE 21434 was released, and it's really a baseline for OEM and supplier to demonstrate that cybersecurity risks are first considered and then managed. So in terms of ISO SAE 21434, so it's a standard that was released last summer, and the scope of this standard is electric and electronic system for road vehicle. So this includes lane centering system, emergency braking, cruise control, infotainment, autonomous driving, all the system related to electrification, including battery management system, vehicle control unit. So, cover all the system within a modern vehicle. And the 21434 is made of 15 parts that can be, broke down within three categories. So the first one is the implementation of cybersecurity at organizational level, then at the project level, and then at the product level. And really, The objective is to provide an overall cybersecurity risk management framework to consider cybersecurity risk from the early phases, so the concept phase, to the product development, production, operation, maintenance, up to the decommissioning and the end of cybersecurity support. And something to be considered for cybersecurity especially is that, when you're developing your system, you're not aware of all the threats, all the risk that can occur in 5 years, 10 years from now. So this is why you need to have continual cybersecurity monitoring, have remediation and incident response measure in place while you are developing your product to make sure that you will be able to react quickly if an incident happens 5, 10 years from now. So now I'm going to go, very quickly in each part of the 21434 to give you, the 8sense high-level objective and to help you, understand what and demystify this standard. So the part 5 is organizational cybersecurity management. So really the objective is to, for the organization to define rules and processes that will be the foundation of the cybersecurity management system, and that will be independently audited against the objective of the 21434. So it covers different aspects, including cybersecurity governance, cybersecurity culture, information sharing, management system, tool management, information security management. So, cover different aspects and it remain at the organizational level. Then we go down one level and we have the part 6, which is project-dependent cybersecurity management. And here, for our friend who work on automotive system, on functional safety ISO 26262, you'd see it's very similar. So you start by defining what is your cybersecurity plan. Then you build your cybersecurity case by providing product argument and process argument. And in the end, you provide a cybersecurity assessment report, and the objective is to decide if your item, component, or system can be released for post-development from a cybersecurity perspective. Then you have the part 7, which is distributed cybersecurity activity. And here the objective is to define what would be the interaction between customer, the supplier, whenever it's software supplier, hardware supplier, tier 1 or tier 2, and it's based on the RASIC chart. So who's responsible for the activity, is going to approve, who will be supporting, who need to be made informed, who will be consulted. And something to be considered as well is the confidentiality level, because you don't want to share information with third parties that don't need to have this information, and then make your system vulnerable by sharing those documentation. Then we have the part 8, which is continual cybersecurity activities, and the objective of this clause are to make sure that you have the processes in place to monitor cybersecurity information, and from that to identify the cybersecurity events. From those events to identify the new weaknesses on your system, and from those weaknesses be able to identify the vulnerability and to manage those vulnerabilities by reacting quickly. So continual cybersecurity activities is not something that you do only at the product development stage. It's something you do from the early stage, so the concept, up to the decommissioning of your product. And it can be done at the product level, but it also can be managed at the organizational level. Then we have the part 9 and the part 10, which are the concept phase and the product development phase. And this is only when we start working on the product itself. So you start by defining your item, so the item definition, where you define what would be the functionality of my system, what would be the boundaries, what are the interfaces, what are the access points. And if you remember what I said earlier, interfaces, access points. The more than you have, the more hackable your system is, and the more difficult it is to protect. So, it's something to be worked on precisely when defining your item. Then, based on the item, you want to do a threat analysis and risk assessment. So the objective is to identify the threats on your system, to identify the risk associated, and to mitigate those by defining cybersecurity goals. And once those cybersecurity goals are defined, you can break them down into cybersecurity requirements, into preliminary architectural elements, and this complete your concept phase. Then, based on that, you can implement cybersecurity solution into your system, test them, so to make sure that your assets are protected. And I want to mention something here is that there are cost solutions already available on the market that you can integrate within your system to protect some the most classical vulnerable assets, such as you want to have secure communication, you want to have secure booting, protected ECU, protected over-the-air updates. So do not reinvent the wheel and go on the market and find those solutions. So I speak quickly about the Tara, but this is really something that is, one of the key items in the 21434. So I want to take a few minutes here to, help you demystify, oversimplify the Tara process. And I will be attending the workshop tomorrow with Reza, with our cybersecurity office manager, and we will be, presenting into detail some use cases and a real life example of performing a Tara. But very high level, you start with your item definition. Based on the item, you identify assets that you want to protect. And for each asset, you identify the threat scenario. And for the threat scenario, you want to evaluate two things. The first one would be the attack path and the attack feasibility. And then you want to identify what is the damage scenario and what is the impact of this damage. So, basically, if the attack feasibility is very low, so meaning that you need to have 10 hackers having billions-dollar equipment working on hacking your system for several months, and the impact is negligible, maybe you can live with this risk and do not do anything. On the other hand, if the attack feasibility is high, so meaning that with my phone I can enter your system and control your system, and the impact of such attack is severe, in that case you want to implement cybersecurity solution. And this is where the last part, the risk treatment decision is important. And you basically have four choices. The first one will be to avoid the risk. So meaning that you have an interface that was used for development purposes. So maybe just remove this interface. The other treatment would be to reduce the risk. So you implement cybersecurity solution, or you can choose to share the risk. So discuss with another system maker with which your system is interfacing to see how you can reduce the risk altogether, or to retain the risk, meaning that you're going to live with the risk. But for retaining and sharing the risk, you need to record those into the cybersecurity claims, which are in the part 6, and to make sure that you have proper cybersecurity monitoring and vulnerability management to ensure that you're aware of those risks while the product is in service. And to conclude very quickly, we have part 11, which is the validation report, where you test the cybersecurity of your system within the overall vehicle in its real operational condition. Part 12, which is production control plan, and the objective is to make sure that you do not introduce vulnerability during the production. Part 13, which is cybersecurity incident response plan, and part 14, which are procedure to communicate the end of cybersecurity. So, thank you all. We'll be attending the workshop tomorrow. So, feel free to join us during the workshop. I will be with Reza, which is our with our cybersecurity office manager, and we can go into the detail of each of those parts or jump into a technical subject. Thank you all and have a good day. Bye bye.